Hey guys, Kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 1.0.6, which I'm calling Kinggath's Day Off. And we'll talk about why that is in a moment. But before we do, we got to thank our patrons. You guys are amazing. We have started down some paths thanks to the funding, because I never thought we were going to get the number of people that we have right now. So it's opened up some doors, and hopefully these things that I've started the ball rolling on will pan out. So, and it's thanks to you guys we're able to do some bigger and bolder things going forward. And I want to give a shout out to a handful of you. But I also, before I do, want to thank people who've been donating in other ways. We get donations periodically. People send me Steam gift cards. People have been donating through PayPal, and once in a while I get people signing up for obscure platforms that I am on that you guys find out about, and it's awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting the project. But Patreon, we have it as a flagged benefit, so I'm going to give direct shout outs to everybody here. And if I don't get your name today, don't worry, I'll get you in another video. So shout outs to Ginny K. Meyer, Undercover Gemurldly. I think you're missing some vowels there. I'm having trouble with that second word. Undercover Gemurldly, Dane Dugan, Justin, Jago Kavanaugh, Tonka, Pascal Hoffman, Ville Vorella, and Paul Greening. Thank you all so much for all of your support. All right, let's talk about the cryptic title of this patch notes video. And the Kinggath's Day Off is because January has basically sapped all of my free time, or at least a significant amount of it that I would normally put toward modding. And so I have been leaning heavily on the rest of the team to actually get this patch to you guys. Not to say I did nothing, it's just far less than I would normally like to do in a patch cycle. So thank you to the team for putting together this content so that we can actually hit our patch day release goals. So let's talk about some of the things I saw of note in the stuff that was submitted for merge this patch cycle. So first up, we've got some expansion to the character Mansfield. So if you've played through our main quest line, you know there's a character we added to Vault 81, and the goal for him was always to seem like kind of a second in command, because we often have to do stuff like this in our story. If we have to find clever ways to interact with the base game factions and things like that, because we don't have access to the original voice actors. And I know some of you guys are thinking you're going to mention the new AI stuff that was released, and quality on that's just not quite up to snuff yet. So I don't think that that's going to be feasible for what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the stuff at really high quality, and if you've played around with that tool, you'll know that the quality is not quite up where we need it to be yet. But anyway, so Mansfield was meant to be a bigger character, and we wanted him to be a little more fleshed out. And so we had originally written a series of Radiant quests and commentary on life in the vault, so that you could go back to him and he would have more interesting things to say. And a lot of that content was recorded by the voice actor, but then was cut due to time and it's not implemented well. One of our wonderful developers came through and went ahead and implemented all of that stuff for this patch. So now Cedric Mansfield will have some new Radiant quests for you. And I know some of you guys hear Radiant, you think that's a dirty word. I find it to be a great way to grind out XP and caps if you need them. And until you realize it's a Radiant, I don't find them that irritating. It's always once I catch myself doing them several times and then realizing they're Radiant after the fact, that always irritates me. But as long as I know up front, it doesn't bother me at all. But an extra way to get caps and make you feel like you're helping out the Vault 81 residents. And obviously, it's optional content. It's nothing particularly exciting. It's typical Radiant. Go fetch things, go talk to people, go do things. Real simple, basic stuff. But it's extra depth, it's extra flavor. And if you happen to be catching Mansfield on a new playthrough, then it might be something you just happen to do once for him while you're out doing his other tasks anyway. So head back to Mansfield if you're looking for a little bit of tiny quest content to tinker around with. All right, next up we've got something that I'm hoping we do more of, but we've taken the vanilla voice files from Protectrons and assembled a pile of them to work as settler dialogue, so that the Protectron settler that we have, Doc Shock, which if you don't know about Doc Shock, you would meet them during our main quest. Actually, there's a depending on how you play out that quest, you can end up with a settler named Doc Shock, and it's a medic skinned Protectron. And one of the problems we had with the robots, and this includes Protectrons, Mr. Handys, etc., is that they make terrible shopkeepers because they have no barter dialogue and no clinic dialogue. And so we realized for at least Protectrons and Mr. Handys, I don't know about the other robot types, but at least those two, it would be feasible to get full settler dialogue. And the first one we've done is Protectron. So there's now a new voice type in our plugin. We applied it to Doc Shock, and it allows Protectrons to be full settlers. So they have the barter dialogue, they've got clinic dialogue, and you should be able to test that out with Doc Shock now. If you're a mod author and you've been wanting to add a Protectron settler, there's a new voice type. You can find it in the patch notes, and that will tell you how to do that. All right, next up on the list is building plan fixes. You guys have been doing an amazing job on the forums, submitting screenshots and information about buildings that have problems. So floating items, clipping items, missing items, things like that. You guys have been reporting those like crazy, and we have now merged in a bunch of fixes to those. So if you've got a plot that seems to have some sort of problem like that, like a clearly missing or floating or clipping item, go ahead and refresh that plot, see if it fixes it. If not, head to the forums, post a screenshot of the issue along with the name of the building plan you're using and the level of it, and hopefully we'll get it added to our list and taken care of as soon as possible. Those can take a little while because re-merging the fixes for those, it's just a process. We always have to apply it right to the main plugin, which is kind of my job, so a lot of this stuff gets like piled up. So oh no, our lead building plan designer will queue up all these fixes, and it can take me weeks before I have time to actually get to them. So don't be too upset if it takes a little bit of time. We do definitely plan on getting them all resolved, though. We want those to look real pretty. All right, next up, there's a system that was in Sim Settlements 1 that I know a lot of people loved, and it didn't make it into Sim Settlements 2 directly, and that's the auto-closing and auto-opening door system. Well, in this patch, that will work now, but there's a little caveat, and that's that you have to enable it. So door management, the auto-opening and closing of doors, was something that was in Sim Settlements 1, and I added it to Workshop Framework so that it could work for all doors, not just the plot and city plan doors that were in Sim Settlements. And that is disabled by default because it's not a vanilla behavior. One of my personal rules for making a framework mod is that it cannot alter any vanilla behavior. Everything, it can enhance and add new possibilities, but by default, all the basic settings have to keep the game running as it is to qualify as a framework. That's just a personal way I develop things. And so in order to keep Workshop Framework a framework and also have this thing in it, had to be dormant by default. So if you go into your Workshop Framework options, either through MCM or through the holotape that can be crafted at the Chem Bench, you'll find there's a door manager system that can be turned on. And when that's on, when you go into workshop mode, all the doors will pop open in the settlement. Now, that was supposed to be working with Sim Settlements 2 plots. I thought it was, and it was not, and that has been fixed. So if you've been using that door manager, it should now work with plots once again in SS2. But another little caveat to that, you need to refresh those plots, unfortunately. Sorry. There was a pretty key component missing from the doors on the plots in order to work with the Workshop Framework, but any new plot that gets built, any plot that gets upgraded to a new level, or any refreshing that's done on a plot will automatically set up its doors to work correctly with the door manager system. All right, then the last little thing on my note I want to talk about, this is like there's a bug fix, but also a talking about a little problem that many of you guys are aware of. So first up, I think this is a system like the door management. A lot of you probably don't even know is there. With caravan services, once you get it to level 2, if you talk to the guy at the plot, he will have an option to travel with him where you can fast travel to another caravan services plot in another settlement. It's a nice way for survival players or people who are looking for an immersive means of fast travel can do so built into that. Well, for whatever reason, that wasn't working with the level 3 caravan services plot, so that has been resolved. But when I started researching the fix for that, it came to my attention from a lot of you guys who are using this on survival, and I know it's not that it just came to my attention, it came to my attention once again. I know I've been hearing talk of this since the alpha days, and it just kept getting kicked down the can kept getting kicked down the road, is that with survival mode, you end up coming out of that fast travel in desperate need of sleep, food, and water. And that is a problem I'm hoping to resolve, but it's very hard to resolve because the code that runs survival mode is very heavily hard-coded. It's scripted in a way that it's not easily tinkered with without making vanilla edits. You guys know my thoughts on that. I hate making vanilla edits, and so I've been trying to find a workaround, and so far have been unsuccessful. So just know that if you start using this caravan fast travel system, you're going to come out of it with pretty bad needs if you're playing in survival mode. So I know that reduces its utility quite a bit, and hopefully I can come up with a solution in the long term. But for now, just know that it's on my radar, that is an issue we need to address. All right, and then finally, we end all of our patch notes videos. Oh wait, I almost forgot something. The Workshop Framework 2.0.8, that is those changes that I talked about. Some of them that I talked about are only in that. There's also a lot of new framework level stuff that we built in for new tools for mod authors to use that we actually need for some stuff we're working on. So go grab the Workshop Framework 2.0.8 update. Okay, now let's talk about the t-shirt giveaway. So every patch I like to end by giving you guys a hashtag that if you include it with your comment, it tells me you're interested in getting a Sim Settlements t-shirt. I will draw one of those at random in the next couple of days, and I will comment back on on your comment telling you to get in touch with me. If you do, in 24 hours, I'll hook you up with a t-shirt. So the hashtag, and please do not just leave this hashtag. Include something else in your comment. It can be something you love about something you love about Sim Settlements, bug report, feature suggestion, funny story, whatever. Just include something else so I'm not just reading through this hashtag over and over again. But that hashtag this week, to complete my reference with the thumbnail, is hashtag Save Ferris. And if you leave that there, I will draw one of you guys in a couple of days. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the mod.